wake up. It's 5, and we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game. Come on!
We back. Quick one-day hiatus on the Pregame Show. But you know you guys can't quit me. Come on. Come on. You know you missed me just a little bit. Shout out 50 Cent. 50 Cent Friday tomorrow on the Morning Roast. Phil Collins Friday tomorrow on the Pregame Show. But today, we get to talk a little bit about the Golden State Warriors. And obviously what has gone on with that organization within the last week or so has been just devastating, to say the least. I mean, you had a part of your Warriors family, a part of your coaching staff, Dejan Miljovic. He died. It's heavy stuff. And not only did he pass away, the event occurred at a private team dinner. So they're reeling. Not that a week could fix the trauma that is involved in that, but, you know, life goes on, unfortunately. Sounds heartless, sounds cold, but life goes on. And it did in the NBA, and it did last night. And on a night where they honored him, and you got the family there, the Miljovic family, his wife, his 2 beautiful children. Warriors get the dub.
The night started with some tears, with some joy, and celebrating a life that was cut far too short. And Coach Decky, a lot of emotion to start this night for the Golden State Warriors. It's been a very, very tough week. And after 8 days, they got back to doing what they love to do, which is play NBA basketball. They have come away with a win.
Well said there from the great Tim Roy right here on 95.7 The Game, your home for Golden State Warriors basketball. An emotional night, an emotional win. A big win. I think they needed that. Not that it's going to solve, it's going to absolve it. It's a game. At the end of the day, it's just a game. But it's nice to have a long break before you have another long break. It's actually the break they just had was longer than they're going to have in the All-Star break, which is nuts. But to come after all that and doing your best to compartmentalize it, the Warriors come away with the dub. And Jonathan freaking Kaminga. You kidding me? Off the bench? 11 of 11? Perfection? He's Mr. Perfect? Shout out WWE? My goodness. Draymond off the bench? Efficient as hell? Doing his old Draymond stuff? Actually playing defense? It's nice to see someone play defense on the Golden State Warriors. Now, is Draymond Green going to solve everything on that team? No, he is not. But it was good to see some good basketball and some defense being played in that second half. First half, not the best. Almost letting 70 points up again to a Trae Youngless Atlanta Hawks squad. But you know what? They hampered down, they bunkered down, and they won the third and fourth quarter. Fourth quarter decidedly. And it looked like a blowout. 134-112 the final. Warriors improved to 19-22 on the season. Now over 500 at home. 12-11 at home. And we're now 2 weeks away from the NBA trade deadline. Officially 2 weeks away. My question to you this morning on the pregame show, Joe Spadoni. What should they do? What are the expectations for you right now for the rest of these next 2 weeks, the rest of the season? But they really got 2 weeks here. What are your expectations for this squad? Is it to, hover around 500 and then go all in for this season? See, I don't see that happening. I just do not see them going all in, burning their bridges, going forward for the next couple months here. I don't see this as a championship team. And it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what Mike Dunleavy, GM of the Golden State Warriors, thinks. Does he think this is a championship. So are they a piece away from being a championship level team? Well, they got a couple weeks here to try to prove them that. Can they? 888-957-9570. Gets tough. Got the Kings tonight. Got Lakers Saturday. Next Tuesday, got the Philadelphia 76ers. That's a lot of big boys. Big shot players. Now, we know it's Sabonis. We know Harrison Barnes, De'Aaron Fox, all those guys. We know about them. LeBron, AD, Saturday, primetime, ESPN, ABC. And then a guy that just dropped 70 freaking points, Joel Embiid, on Tuesday. So I feel like these next 3 games could tell us a lot. If they go 0-3, you're 19-25, and then it's just like, okay, maybe we just start selling, try to recoup some picks, see what we can do in the summer, go all in for the next year. Or do they go 3-0, get back to 500? See, there's so many different ways this can go for the Warriors in such a little time. But I kind of like that it's, 2 weeks from today, let's see what you got. And I think the Golden State Warriors and Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, who is now back and off the bench last night, looking like Draymond Green. And remember, there's no problem when Draymond was on the floor. No problem at all. So, 2 weeks to see what the Warriors got. 888-957-9570. Good morning to all you lovely people. That's the number to get involved. 888-957-9570. Call or text the Comcast Business text line. Also hit us up via YouTube or Twitch. Search 95.7 The Game. Like and subscribe there. We are streaming all day long. Again, right here on 95.7 The Game, your home for Golden State Warriors basketball. And good morning to all of you on the chat. Damon Chang, Conquer Them, My Family, Mi Familia. Appreciate you guys chiming in at this hour of the day. If you're just getting off work, getting ready for work, getting ready for whatever. Appreciate you choosing the pregame show. Steve Kerr, your thoughts on this past week?
This whole week has been surreal and so devastating. And, the biggest thing is Decky's family. I can't stop thinking about his son and daughter and his wife. And, they're heading back to Serbia tomorrow. And I'm glad they'll be surrounded by their family. But, it's hard to process everything.
You now had to coach a game, and you have to coach the rest of the season without Coach Decky alongside you. What was that adjustment like tonight?
Tonight was just about the emotion and just trying to get through it. I probably shouldn't tell you this, but all the coaches took a shot of something called rakia, which is before the game, which is a Serbian brandy.
Okay.
Yeah. So we all took a shot of that in Decky's honor, and we won. So we might have to keep doing that before every game.
I probably shouldn't tell you this either, but I saw the bottle.
You did? But nobody's going to see this, right? Nobody's watching?
No, nobody's watching. All right. Hey, they honored him well tonight. That shot worked out, and there you go. You got the win. Congrats, Coach.
Thanks so much.
Of course.
The shots were flowing. Pre-game and post-game. Let's go. That's awesome. And you know what? Hey, why not make that a little tradition? Wakes you up right before the game, gets you fired up. What was it? What was Marshawn Lynch doing? Shots of Hennessy before games? Let's go. Marshawn could do it. Steve Kerr can do it before coaching. That's awesome. And again, the shots were flowing during the game. Jonathan Kaminga, 11 of 11. Can that kid even drink yet? I know it was just the coaching staff. It was a good one. The Warriors, they needed something. And not that this is, again, it's not going to absolve the tragedy of this past week. God, they just needed something slightly positive to happen. Because this has just been a downright awful year. Just everything going on. The suspension, Dayon passing. Everything has been going wrong. And for one night, on the court anyways, something went right. So, Warriors 134, 112, Atlanta Hawks. 2 weeks away from the NBA trade deadline. Yes, February 8th. What will the Warriors do? It's been so weird, honestly. because we've been so locked in on the Niners. And we'll get back to the Niners because we had the GOAT, Jerry freaking Rice, on the morning roast yesterday. Your boy interviewed him. No big deal. Raider legend Jerry Rice as well. Don't get it twisted. Bomani Jones was on with us yesterday as well. He had some interesting thoughts on the Brock Purdy narrative, on Kyle Shanahan. We talked about who's under the most pressure. We can get back into that. And Steve Young with some interesting thoughts on what makes Brock so good. So we'll get into that a little bit later. Want to focus a little bit on the Warriors right now because I got to play catch up. I do. I mean, they've been out of sight, out of mind. And respectfully, of course, we were doing that because it just didn't feel right to be talking about a game when a tragedy just took place within the organization, just talking about the X's and O's. It just didn't feel right. It felt dirty, quite honestly. So I didn't want to touch that. I didn't want to talk about it. I think we as a station did a good job. And Bay Area media as well, kind of giving the Warriors some space there when they needed it. But now we got to get back into it. So I was recalibrating my mind. I was like, all right, where's this team at? All right, they're 18-22. What's going on? They're now 19-22. 2 weeks away from the trade deadline. Kaminga's balling. Is he going to stay? Is he still going to get traded? Siakam. See, we didn't even bring up Siakam. He's gone. He's out in Indiana now. So the Pacers made them an offer they couldn't refuse. A lot of Warriors fans upset about that. Who's still out there? That could be a difference maker. I'm hearing DeJounte Murray. I mean, you just saw him last night. Not bad. Not bad at all. 23 points, 7 assists, 7 boards. 3-point shot wasn't there for him. They got to the line, 7 of 8. There's DeJounte Murray, and that's a guy, as I go Chris Collinsworth now, here's a guy who you could actually sell for the future. He's a young, talented, athletic guard. Not that, you're guard deficient per se, but I'm banking more on DeJounte Murray more than Andrew Wiggins going forward. Andrew Wiggins last night, 4 of 11 shooting, 12 points, 5 boards. It was typical Andrew Wiggins performance. I like that he was shooting more. That helped. Got to the line, hit all 4 of his 3 throws. There you go. They are free for a reason. You got to hit them. So, what's going to be the move for this team? Is there a move out there that, in your mind, makes them a championship contender? I find it hard to believe that that's, out there. I mean, if you wanted to sell me on Siakam, I guess I kind of could because of what he had done in Toronto with Kawhi, Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, all those. I could see that, but also the report was he was hesitant about staying in Golden State long term. That was what was really eye-opening and shocking to me. Pascal Siakam, yeah, I'm good off that. Whatever's going on over there, I'm good. And that was more like, wow. Is Golden State all of a sudden not a destination for free agents? They don't want to stay here long term. I mean, you still got Steph Curry. Has the Draymond Green antics really reverberated around the league in such a way where it's, becoming a non-destination in Golden State? So, a lot to catch up still. We're going to be catching up on the fly. 888-957-9570 is the number to call or text. Here is the man of the night, Jonathan Bleepin Kaminga. I'm just trying to have fun and honor Decky.
It's been a tough week. Obviously, we kind of regroup within everything that was going on and just went out there and just enjoy and just have fun and just do what Decky want us to do. Just go out there and have fun and just win again.
More from Kaminga on tying Chris Mullins' Warriors record for most shots without a miss.
It felt great. It's crazy that Chris Mullins is really my guy, and just tying his record, it's a blessing, and I'm really happy that happened. So obviously, it's a blessing.
Mitchie Mitch is out in New Jersey. Wants to join in on the conversation. What's going on, Mitch? You're on the pregame show.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm already working. How you doing?
Great, man.
I say Curry, Moody, and Kaminga are keepers. I think the conference is too tough. I think you should get assets. And your Kings right down the road, up the road, they're closing in. If they want to win a championship, maybe Thompson would hurt even a Green. I'm not a fan of Green, to tell you the truth. But I think you should start trading some pieces and get younger. That's it. Thank you for taking my call.
Okay, there you go. Mitch in New Jersey. Quick and easy right there. I love Mitch. Off-air conversation about Mitch in New Jersey. That guy. Kings, Warriors doing a trade? Sam Lubman? I don't think that's happening. Now, maybe, but I can't see the Warriors still hovering around 500 and then trading Klay Thompson to the Sacramento Kings. I actually think Klay would be a great fit there in Sacramento. I think that's a great market for him.
My dream is the Barnes for Wiggins trade.
Oh, gosh.
Just for the memes right there.
What's the net neutral there for both sides? I don't even know. That's disrespectful. I don't know what Harrison Barnes doing this season. I haven't been watching a lot of Kings basketball. I've actually just been focused on a lot of football, to be quite honest, within the last few weeks, like most of us have been. But again, 2 weeks to show. Do the Warriors build for the future or build for the now? Or do both? See, there's no wrong or right answers here, is what I'm trying to say. Again, I mentioned a guy named DeJounte Murray. Be a nice piece. How much is that going to cost? If I'm parting to Kaminga and Moody, no. And it's tricky with Jonathan Kaminga. I could understand, wanting to move off a guy like that because you can get a piece like a DeJounte Murray. But what is DeJounte Murray's upside? Haven't we already seen that? He's a solid starter. It's good. He's probably third, fourth option on championship team? Jonathan Kaminga has the potential, and again, I'm going with that word, potential, as we saw last night coming off the bench, to be a 2. People might think I'm crazy for saying that. I think that's his high end. More likely, probably a 3. But the potential, when I see it, it's just off the charts for that guy. Robin and SF, am I graced by the great Robin in San Francisco on this beautiful Thursday morning, January 25th, 2024, the year of our Lord? Robin, what's going on? You're on the pregame show, Joe Spadoni.
Yes, I specifically wanted to call in because I didn't feel like I could get this point across, even though it might be mood, it may not make sense. First of all, it's football season, so it's hard for me to transition to basketball to football, especially when our Niners are there. But I wanted to say this, what has kind of bothered me about the fan base, about just everything, in terms of the dynamic with the younger players this year. So I feel like that Kaminga, because he fits this, he's explosive or he might dunk or whatever, he fits this mold of being a basketball player. He gets this pass, for complaining, for wanting to start, for whatever he wants, right? And Jordan Poole didn't. I don't want to bring up in terms of the punch, none of that. I'm just saying the hypocrisy kind of bothers me a little bit, and I've kind of lost a lot of respect for the Warriors and a lot of regard for the fan base because he wanted to start. Okay, so he didn't play well, so that's fine. But he wanted to start, right? He played well. He helped them win a championship. Yet he's made out to be the bad guy, and Kaminga's made out to be the good guy. And, I don't know if I'm making sense, but it's hypocrisy to me. And if you get what I'm saying, explain to me how you see it, because it's the same dynamic. It really is.
Well,
okay?
Rob,
and then
go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry, Rob.
Okay, I talked to you. See you later, Gator.
See you later, Gator. Didn't want to cut her off there. She was, totally right, Robin. I heard that she didn't want to bring up the punch, but I think that's what it goes back to. It does. You can't gloss that over, because what happened after that was, and she's specifically talking about Warriors fans being over Jordan Poole. remember what happened after that. It was, you're either a Draymond Green, person, guy, woman, whatever. You're standing for him, or you're with Jordan Poole. And it felt like the overwhelming majority of when we got callers in, immediately when it happened was, what did Jordan Poole say? Hey, what did Jordan Poole do to provoke Draymond? Not that Draymond did that. And listen, I'm not turning this into a whole, going back to the punch and talking about that for a whole another hour, because it is what it is. Jordan Poole's moved on. Robin's point was, why did we give, Jordan Poole such grief about his attitude, his shot discernment, all that sort of stuff, when he was a championship player and part of a championship, run, a key cog in that. And Jonathan Kaminga, we're giving a quote-unquote pass, even though his numbers don't reflect what he has done to Jordan Poole's level. And we're out talking about his potential, and we're talking about all this stuff, and, he's going and crying to the media and all this sort of stuff, and he's upset he's not in the starting lineup, getting more minutes, yada, yada, yada. Why are we giving Kaminga pass? Well, I don't think we are. I think a lot of people are split on Jonathan Kaminga with, going to the media. I remember back in the playoffs last year, going to then at the time CJ Holmes, who was covering the team for the San Francisco Chronicle. So it's not that I don't think fans are giving Kaminga a pass. I think fans are coming to the realization that there's not a lot of young talent on this team to get excited about for the future outside of Jonathan Kaminga, Moses Moody, and then Brandon Pajewski, outside of this year now. So Pajewski's kind of hit a rookie wall the last night. Encouraging. 5-9. 10 points. A couple of assists. It's good to see. 27 minutes. The shot discernment was there for him. Trace Jackson-Davis, TJD, maybe he gets a little more run as the season goes on. But fans want to bet on the future as well. You got to look at this thing past Stephen Curry as well. I know it's very hard to do that, but that's what Joe Lacob and Mike Dunleavy also have to juggle here in the next couple weeks and in the offseason. Again, we're 2 weeks away from the NBA trade deadline. You need to keep some young assets here. I think that's obvious with how this season has gone. And are you willing to part with Jonathan Kaminga? Like Moses Moody, I can wrap my head around. Even a Brandon Pajemski, although I'd like to keep him. Wiggins, I think, is gone. You got to move off of Andrew Wiggins. We know who he is right now. Maybe a change of scenery will help him somewhere else. Maybe he doesn't want to be here anymore. Maybe that happens with players. It's run its course. And maybe it's run its course quicker than we all thought. But hey, happens all the time in the NFL, right? Not for long, players go. Major League Baseball, 2 years done. Shout out Farhan Zaidi, the player options. By the way, did Farhan doing anything yet? Still waiting. TBD. Hey, go get Pete Alonso. That'll salvage the offseason. Is he on the market? Go trade for him. That's not happening. Sam is not even going to entertain. He's just looking at his screen. And he's like, I hear you. I'm not jumping in on this crap conversation, Spadoni. It's all right. It was Baden. Sam doing a hell of a job pulling double duty yesterday when I was on the show. He was working the phones, going behind the board. Appreciate that, Sam Lubman. All right. We're going to pivot back to the Niners here. Back to the Niners. Thinking of you, Steiny. I think the surgery went well, though, for Matt Steinmetz on his hip. Thumbs up from Matt Steinmetz. So hopefully he's on the mend and gets back quickly, because we miss you, Steiny. Steiny, I'm sure, would have some takes on last night's Warriors 134-112 win over the not hot Atlanta Hawks. A guy we haven't heard from yet is Klay Thompson. And he shares his emotions from last night.
It was really hard. It was really hard for everyone in the organization. There's still a really big hole in our team, and just feel so bad for Decky's children and his wife. And we miss him every day. Think about him all the time, and seeing that footage of him with the guys and with Loon and all the players from Europe gave me chills and a lot of emotions. Just sucks because he was such an awesome person, and gonna miss him dearly.
So we have like some kind of relation, like, he was like my older brother. He was the kind of person he could tell me in a way, in a positive way, like, Dario, you stupid, but I will not get that too hard. And I know because he wants me, like, to do better, to do a situation better, because he's trusting in my ability to play basketball. So he's just such a positive person, smiling always, when I'm in bad mood, he was kind of like bringing it up, and that kind of stuff, Great mentor, we kind of came up from the similar backgrounds, back in Europe. So having him, he was like really blessed for me. And I never had a coach like him, in that short period, have like a great impact on me,
Dario Saric there as well. So Klay Thompson, Dario Saric, Steve Kerr, Jonathan Kaminga shared their thoughts last night on an emotional win for the Golden State Warriors. 888-957-9570. We can continue to take your calls and texts in regards to them. 2 weeks away from the NBA trade deadline. What should the Warriors do? What will they do in this, 3-game home stretch that's kind of brutal? Kings, not an easy team to go against. Their firepower. Lakers, they've been up and down all season, but they are capable of beating anyone, but they're also capable of losing to anyone. LeBron James, he's still that dude at 39 years old. And Joel Embiid, is he going to go back-to-back with MVPs? He might. Certainly the leader in the clubhouse with how Philadelphia is playing right now. He just dropped 70 freaking points just a few days ago. So that's on the horizon on Tuesday as well. But what else is on the horizon? It's the NFC freaking championship, baby. Sunday night, Levi's. Be there, be square. Rain, go away, come again another day. It will not be a part of that forecast, thankfully. Brock Purdy, is he going to bounce back? Kyle Shanahan, is he going to bounce back? Defensive line, where are you at? All that next on the pregame show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
With heating bills as high as they are, proper weatherproofing is essential. If you're working with a client to upgrade or build a new home, be sure to visit Golden State. They partner with respected brands such as Owens Corning and James Hardy for insulation and siding, as well as Marvin and Anderson for energy-efficient windows. They're a great option for a comfortable home with lower energy bills. Visit GoldenStateLumber.com. Family owned since 1954. Golden State. When you succeed, we succeed.
At Lowe's, save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save 15% when you buy 4 or more Purdy paint products. And there's more. Save 10% when you buy 68 or more panels of select OSB sheathing. Visit us in-store or online for low prices on the materials you need. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location, while supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details.
If you're looking to move out of your parents' place, you could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive, which is good because your little brother has gotten really territorial. You're blood related. You'd think it would be fine to share food in the fridge. Who writes their name on every individually wrapped slice of cheese?
Presentations. Go to sfhistory.org and discover the San Francisco Historical Society, giving our history a great future. Become a member today.
Dub Nation, this is Tim Roy, and you're listening to the Pregame Show on 95.7 The Game.
Welcome back. Pregame show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game. Emotional night, emotional win for the Golden State Warriors last night. 134-112 over the Atlanta Hawks. Warriors improved to 19-22 on the year. Good to hear Tim Roy right there at the rejoin, hear his voice last night. And again, what was an emotional night as the Warriors honored the life of Dejan Miljovic, who was a Warriors assistant coach, longtime coach, player out in Serbia, his family present. It's a very difficult situation all around, and I thought the Warriors organization, the players, even the Atlanta Hawks, everyone showed tremendous class and poise and respect last night. So, very emotional scene. And we were talking a little bit about the Kaminga and Poole and Robin in San Francisco. If we ever had a Hall of Fame for callers, she would be first ballot Hall of Famer. You know, she was a little upset. He's like, hey, why does Kaminga get a pass for how he, talks and calls out the coaching staff, and Jordan Poole never got that same pass because it feels like he was a key part of a championship team, and he never got the respect he deserves. To which the 510 on the Comcast Biz text line, 888-957-9570 if you'd like to weigh in. 510 responds, Poole's vibe was off and had a problem with his teammates. Kaminga's issue is with coaching and not starting. See, that narrative that Poole has problems with his teammates, he had a problem with one teammate. Let's not get it twisted. And that teammate had a problem with him, clearly. This notion that all of his teammates suddenly did not like Jordan Poole. Did he do some boneheaded things on the court sometimes? Sure. But when he was on, he was must-see TV. And when he was on in that championship run, I feel like we are short-sighted a little bit here. He was a key piece in all those series. Against Denver, against the Mavericks, against Memphis, against the Celtics, everywhere. He had key moments and key shots in every single one of those series. He'll always be a Golden State Warrior because he was a champion. Jonathan Kaminga was not a key part of that championship run. Now, he may be a key piece for the future, and right now, that's fine. But I have no problem with Robin being a little bit peeved on how the fan base had treated Jordan Poole is now treating Jonathan Kaminga, although I do think I disagree with her a little bit. I do think there are a lot of Golden State Warriors fans that did get turned off by Kaminga's comments regarding playing time, minutes, all that sort of stuff. His camp's comments, I should say, because he didn't directly say it. Although to CJ Holmes last year in the playoffs, he did. All right, putting a bow on that conversation. We can pick it up later, 2 weeks away from the NBA trade deadline. I wanted to pivot to some Niners because they're the biggest freaking story right now. Niners, Lions, this Sunday. We got the kickoff show. We got all-day coverage right here on 95.7 The Game. We got the Grandy Man and Sterling in the morning. Mark Grandy and Sterling Bennett doing a hell of a job all year, doing overtime. So they got that before the kickoff show with Larry Krueger and Lorenzo Neal, who will be live from the Hilton of Santa Clara. Go stop in and say hi if you're going to the title game. And all the storylines in this are they're juicy. I mean, you can go with the biggest one. The Detroit Lions, ladies and gentlemen, are in the NFC Bleepin' Championship. The Detroit Lions, one of the worst franchises of my lifetime. Absolutely. Of most of our lifetimes, unless you were like in your 80s, and when we were talking to Bomani Jones yesterday, I accidentally age shamed him. I was like, yeah, definitely my lifetime, Bomani. Maybe yours, insinuating Bomani's like 75 years old. Didn't mean to do that to him. But again, Jared Goff, a local guy, Cal, Marin Catholic, longtime Ram, a rival, taking that team to the NFC Championship, and they are one win away from going to a Super Bowl. I mean, the Lions have been around forever. They've never reached a Super Bowl, ever. They won 4 teams. Let's see. Lions, Texans, Jags, Browns. That's it. Only teams not to reach a Super Bowl. So they got America backing them up, and rightfully so. Who doesn't love that story? I get it. If you don't have a dog in the fight, root for the Lions. They're easy. The head coach, guy's crying constantly, but in a good way. He's getting his team fired up. He cares. Wears his heart on his sleeve. Guy's quoting Shakespeare in the locker room. Want to run through a wall for Dan Campbell. Hell, we played the sound yesterday. Bonte's one of the biggest Niner fans I know. He's like, you know what? Dan Campbell's got me fired up. Again, the Jared Goff storyline. And then juxtapose out the Niners and Kyle Shanahan. I mean, are we turning into the Andy Reid era in Philadelphia? It's what it feels like. I mean, he went to what? Andy Reid, 4 straight NFC Championship games? This is Kyle Shanahan's 4th in his last 5 years. And with Reid, there was also a Super Bowl appearance in there. Obviously, Donovan McNabb, T.O. with a broken leg. By the way, that Terrell Owens performance in the Super Bowl gets so slept on as one of the great performances of all time because it was a loss. My guy had a broken leg and had 100 yards receiving. Does anyone remember that? It's unbelievable. But again, a loss to New England and Tom Brady. Was that their third? Was that their second? I always get the Panthers one and the Eagles one confused. Regardless, are we approaching Andy Reid Philadelphia territory for Kyle Shanahan if he doesn't get it done? Now, I love the Niners' chances this week. I love their chances last week. They made a lot of Niner fans sweat it out. Is it going to be that close? Are we going to blame the rain for all last week's problems? Kyle did allude to that a lot of the reasons on why Brock Purdy struggled was because of the rain. He believes that. That's the head coach saying that. And another big storyline in this game is Deebo Samuel going to play. Well, we had the greatest wide receiver and probably the greatest football player of all time, Jerry Bleepin' Rice, on yesterday. You can check that out. Search YouTube. 95.7 The Game. Like, subscribe there. Ring that bell. Find the entire interview as well as Bomani Jones and also Anthony Slater, our Warriors insider. But here's Jerry Rice on if he expects Deebo to play.
I remember this guy, I think it was Super Bowl 29. He played with a grade 3 separated shoulder, and it happened early during the ball game. I expect Deebo Samuel to be on that football field. That's the bottom line. And I think with Deebo, being a competitor that he is, he's going to be ready to play.
The GOAT thinks he's going to play. That's a vote of confidence. And Kyle Shanahan speaking to the media yesterday, Deebo Samuel did not practice. He was working on the side and said that he, quote, feels better. And it's just a pain issue right now for Deebo. So if it's just a pain tolerance thing and there's no, risk of injuring it further, that's the key there. If there's risk of serious injury, that's why it could be 50-50 still. If it's just playing through pain, well, then he's a lock. It's Deebo freaking Samuel. It's one of the toughest SOBs in the league. Here's more from Jerry talking about the other all-pro receiver who was second-team All-Pro this year. Brandon Ayuk. It's his time to shine.
It's time for him to shine again. That's it. You know, if Debo is not on the field, we know that he's going to be that playmaker. And like that third down catch that he made over the middle, that was a difficult catch. He got to make plays like that, and he got to have confidence in himself that, hey, look, you know, I'm going to be ready to go. And, I want to see him run more routes on the outside, too, because he's been running that sort of like that, almost like that 20-yard over the middle. Defense coordinators, they're going to plan for that. So we're going to have to put some wrinkles into that offense. We're going to have to change some of our tendencies. And I think if we do that, we're going to be okay.
888-957-9570. Who has the most pressure? Who has the most to prove this Sunday for you? What player, what coach has most to prove? Steve Wilkes, Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy. 888-957-9570 is the number. We'll pick that conversation up on the other side. And Hall of Famer Steve Young, get his thoughts on the young quarterback in San Francisco. It's a pregame show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same. But at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high-commission investment products, right?
No. Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Denise has been playing jazz for 40 years. Last concert, one of the musicians fell sick with RSV. Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems. This time, she's choosing to help.
Oh, big stretch. We're good. We're good. 5:48. Pregame show. Joe Spadoni for you. One more segment before handing that baton off to Bonte Hill and Joe Bleepin' Shasky. Who they got on today, Sam? Guest-wise.
We got Jamel Hill at 8,
Oh.
Eric Kramer, former quarterback of the Detroit Lions, at 8:30, and then Kate Rooney of Cron 4 joining us at 9:20 to give us the latest on 49ers practice.
There you go. It's a three-headed monster right there. Jamel Hill, obviously formerly from ESPN. A lot of you know her from there. Numbers never lie. Who was that? Michael Smith. Hugh Douglas for a second. Obviously doing a lot of work. She's a big Niners fan that is from Michigan. So, again, we were talking about this yesterday, Bonte and I. There's a lot of Detroit fans who have dealt with so much heartbreak that they don't want to be Lions fans when they were young. They just couldn't. Like, I want to root for a team that might actually win someday. So they defected to the Steelers, the Niners, the Cowboys, I'm sure, all the other teams that were winning at said time. But now, the diehards, they're loving this. And I think we heard a projection yesterday, 20% of the fans. Oh, thank you, Sam. They got 20% of the fans. That was my hashtag squirrel because you're not going to want to miss this. This is called the tease right here. Just wait until you hear what went down in Las Vegas yesterday in regards to the enthusiasm about the Las Vegas A's. You're not going to want to miss this. Might have been the funniest thing I saw probably since this new year, within the last 25 days. Hilarious. Not going to want to miss that. But I saw somewhere, was it Vivid Seats? 20% of the tickets sold for the NFC Championship game going to Lions fans? That's a lot. That is a lot for a title game. Usually you get a lot would be 10% usually for a title game, or you'd have spatterings of, red last year in Philadelphia, but really it was Philly shows out for their squad. You can trash on the fan base all you want. I totally get it, but they show out for their teams. Niners fans selling a lot of their tickets? Are they confident or cocky that the Niners get into the Super Bowl? There's a fine line there. That's some juju I don't want to mess with. Shout out Juju Smith-Schuster. All right. Now to the game. Got red versus blue. You got Jared Goff, Brock Purdy. I mean, how could you hate either of those quarterbacks? I mean, both of them, what they've both been through, they are kind of both. I wouldn't call Jared Goff a underdog story in the sense that he was a first overall pick coming out of Cal. He's been to a Super Bowl. But let's not act like he wasn't tossed to the curb by that same team that got to a Super Bowl with him in the Los Angeles Rams. They basically said, Jared, you aren't good enough to get us over the hump. We're going to trade for Matt Stafford, the guy that is Mr. Detroit for the last 20 years. I'm not even going to say probably. He's the greatest quarterback in their franchise's history. I know he never won a playoff game. Guy took the Lions to 3 of them, though. It's pretty damn impressive. And then he goes to the Rams and wins a Super Bowl. So it's basically your ex getting remarried right away and then them having a baby and that baby being the Super Bowl. It's like, okay. All right. Well, I'll get mine. And you know what? A couple years later, in the playoffs, they did. And Jared Goff, right now, if the Lions complete everything and win it, that is we're talking about Hollywood stories of Brock Purdy. That's a Hollywood story for Jared Goff. Highest of highs, lowest of lows. Go to LA to Detroit. God bless Detroit. It is not LA. Resurrects that franchise that has been desperate to even have a Super Bowl appearance, desperate for a playoff win, desperate for a home playoff win. Desperation galore in Detroit. And Goff is the leader of that team that brings them back to relevance and gets them a Super Bowl. I mean, that might be the story of the year in sports, any sport. So the narrative there is set for Detroit. For the Niners and for Brock Purdy going to their young quarterback, this is a guy that was written off. He is literally Mr. Irrelevant. How many times did people doubt this guy all season long? Steven Ruiz of The Ringer, if the 49ers win the Super Bowl, he's going to quit covering the NFL, right? That's what he said? He's done? Well, 2 wins away, my friend. Maybe start looking at some other jobs. Incredibly tough. Here's Hall of Famer Steve Young. Knows a little thing or two about MVPs and MVP candidates, being that he was one. Here's Steve talking about Brock and the plays that he has made over and over and over again.
Historically, there have been players like these efficiency aficionados, I'll call them, who they're guys that lead the league in efficiency, that take the play out of the huddle and get every last inch of it. And Brock does have the ability to extend a play. You've seen him do that. It's not like he can't do it. And so he has that ability. But what he has, the superpower, is that he has the most innovative mind in football in Kyle Shanahan. He has all this talent around him. Give me the play. And in those two seconds, I'm going to Indiana Jones through it, and I'll know where to go, and they're going to get the football. And he's done it over and over again. And that's tough to beat, as you've seen.
Steve Young, big into the 80s movies with his references with Brock Purdy. I think we've gotten Indiana Jones and Luke Skywalker. I mean, Steve Young must love him some George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, am I right? Who doesn't? Who doesn't? And I actually, in a weird way, the Indiana Jones comp works for Brock Purdy. I could see him wearing that hat, having the satchel, the whip, all that. Doesn't that work for Brock? I could see it more so than Luke Skywalker, although he's got the baby face, so he can do that too. But I definitely see more Indiana Jones with his escapability factor. Like this Sunday, that giant boulder is going to be Aiden Hutchinson, and he has to dive out of the way. With his legs, he can do that. And he doesn't have to deal with the rain, which is going to help. I expect a big bounce back from Brock Purdy this Sunday. What does that look like? Well, it looks like none of those boneheaded throws that he had this past week. Now, he didn't have any turnovers, but he had a lot of turnover-worthy plays. I expect that to drop dramatically. Because as I've said time in and time out on the pregame show, it always comes down to turnovers. If Brock Purdy just takes care of the football and Christian McCaffrey takes care of the football, this team wins. This team's going to win a Super Bowl. I'm very confident in that. Darnell Savage had an opportunity to change that game. Packers win that game if he gets a pick six. He didn't. It's little things like that. One more from Steve Young talking about what Brock's, what makes him so good in his mind.
I've said many times, Brock has the Force. And if you love the Star Wars, you know what I'm talking about. And like Luke Skywalker, like it's something he has that you can't explain. And what it is in football terms is the ability to get a football play, have studied and memorized every aspect of it, all of the tendencies of the defense you're now going to play, and then can run that play and literally get the most out of it and figure out and decipher through the play who's going to be the one that should get the ball.
Okay, so he's Indiana Jones and Luke Skywalker. He's got the Riz of Indiana Jones, but he's got the Force of a Luke Skywalker. That's pretty formidable. I mean, we're talking about some of the all-time characters in the history of filmography. It's a big shoes to fill. To hell with Joe Montana and Steve Young and those guys and trying to follow in their footsteps. Following the footsteps of Indiana Jones and Luke Skywalker, that's much more difficult. Now, can he do that? Can he destroy the Death Star? And that's kind of disrespectful to, compare the Lions to the Death Star, but in this scenario, the Death Star would be either the Baltimore Ravens this year or the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, this is, if we're going comps, the Lions are kind of like a Star Destroyer in this, or like a Grand TIE Fighter like unit or fleet. They're sexy. They got action. But ultimately, the Rebel Alliance and the San Francisco 49ers are going to take care of business. But we all know that team in red could be lurking in a few weeks. And that's the evil empire. Andy Reid is Emperor Palpatine, and Darth Vader is Patrick Mahomes. They've been there. They've done that. They've conquered. And Kyle Shanahan, a.k.a. Yoda, a.k.a. Obi-Wan Kenobi, wrapped into one. Can he get his guy to be on that level in a few weeks? And it starts with this week? We shall see. Real quick, I did want to play this before we hand it off. Thank you, Sam Lubman, for grabbing this. Yesterday, video leaked of, I guess John Fisher spoke to a bunch of like businesses, stuff like that, trying to invest in the A's and their new stadium and whatever. After that, whoever this host was, trying to garner up some enthusiasm in that crowd, it went horribly. Just take a listen.
Let's give it up one more time for Mary Beth and John Fisher, please. The Las Vegas A's. We like the sound of that, right, Vegas? Yeah? Yes? Are we alive back there, Las Vegas? How we feeling? Okay, we already know the Vegas sports.
The silence is deafening on 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco.